Friends, welcome to the course Introduction. Aristotle has once said, "It is during our darkest moments that we must focus to see the light." Yes, during the darkest moments, we must focus to see the light. And in the present world, we know that there is a pervading darkness, a darkness that has been disseminated by a very dangerous, fatal viral attack. And the name that is given to it is COVID 19. Unless and until we know what COVID 19 is, we won't be able to fight it. We won't be able to conquer it. So let us understand what COVID 19 actually is. So, what is it? What is COVID 19? COVID 19 is an infectious disease caused by a newly discovered coronavirus that is so familiar to you all. COVID 19 is an infectious disease and that is caused by a newly discovered coronavirus. And this particular coronavirus is a virus that attacks the RNA of human beings, and it typically affects the respiratory tract of mammals, including humans. So, this particular coronavirus, always attacks the respiratory system of human beings. And how has this particular name came into being? When you look at the official name of COVID 19, it is actually SARS-CoV-2. What is the full form of SARS-CoV-2? It is Severe Acute Respiratory Syndrome Coronavirus 2. So, though the official name is SARS-CoV-2, we are not much familiar with that particular name. Rather, we are familiar with COVID-19. And what is COVID-19? It is actually an acronym. Acronym means a short form which stands for Coronavirus Disease of 2019. CO stands for Corona, VI stands for virus, and D stands for disease. 19 stands for 2019. So, COVID 19 is coronavirus disease of 2019. And who has given this particular name? It was actually given by World Health Organization WHO on February 11th, 2020 for the disease caused by the novel coronavirus SARS-CoV-2. And we know that COVID is caused by a virus named corona. And how has this particular virus got that particular name, corona? Corona, when you look at its origin, it is a Latin word which means crown. Why this particular word? Because when looked at this particular virus through an electron microscope, it would give the appearance of a crown. Okay, so that is how the virus got its name. It gives the appearance of a crown, and crown actually in Latin, the word for crown is corona. That is how it got its name. And why is it called novel coronavirus? In the newspapers and in the press releases also, you must have heard that it is a novel coronavirus. And what is the meaning of the word novel? It means new. Why this coronavirus is called a new virus? Because it is a new coronavirus that has not been previously identified in human beings. Earlier in 2002, there was a coronavirus attack named SARS. What was SARS? Severe Acute Respiratory Syndrome. That was a coronavirus attack which happened in 2002. And there was another attack of coronavirus in 2012, which was named MERS, Middle East Respiratory Syndrome. But when you look at SARS-CoV-2 or COVID-19, that the virus that has caused this COVID-19 is a novel coronavirus. It is not like SARS or MERS. It is something new. That is why it is called novel coronavirus. And the authorities have always called it a pandemic. COVID-19 is a pandemic. That is how WHO has declared this particular disease. COVID-19 is a pandemic. And what is the word meaning of pandemic? In order to understand what pandemic is, you must understand what an epidemic is. You might have heard about epidemics. Epidemic is a particular disease that spreads in a particular community or in a particular region. It will always be restricted to a particular region or a community. But pandemic is different from an epidemic. Pandemic is a worldwide spread of a disease or an infection. It is not restricted to a community or a region. Okay, so this COVID 19 is a pandemic, because we know that from all the news sources, we know that it has pervaded all over the world. It has spread worldwide. That is why it is called a pandemic. The word pandemic originates from the word pandemos, which denotes all people alike, all countries alike are affected by this particular disease. That is why it has got its name, or WHO has called this particular disease as a pandemic. Then we look at its origin. You might have heard it before. This particular virus, coronavirus, novel coronavirus, has originated from the Huanan seafood market in the Hubei province of Wuhan City, China, in December 2019. So that is the place of origin. That is the Huanan seafood market in the Hubei province of Wuhan City of China. And all available evidence for COVID-19 suggests that SARS-CoV-2 has a zoonotic source. Like SARS and MERS, the novel coronavirus is a zoonotic disease. Okay, all the evidence says that it is a zoonotic disease. It has emerged from a zoonotic source. So, what is a zoonotic source, or what is a zoonotic disease? The definition of a zoonotic disease is one that begins in animals and is transmitted from animals to people. Okay, so the origin of this novel coronavirus is an animal, and from that particular animal it will be transmitted to people. That is why it is called a zoonotic disease. The intermediate animal host or zoonotic source could be a domestic animal, a wild animal, or a domesticated wild animal. We do not know for certain which actually is a zoonotic source. It can be a wild animal or a domesticated animal, or it can be a domesticated wild animal. And what are the common symptoms of this particular disease? The most common symptoms are fever, tiredness, and dry cough. If you have any of this, you must always seek medical attention. So these are the common symptoms: fever, tiredness, and dry cough. But some people may also experience aches and pains, nasal congestion, runny nose, sore throat, and diarrhea. So these can also be taken as symptoms of COVID-19. And how is this particular disease transmitted? Coronavirus is most humanly spread from an infected person to others through the respiratory droplets. And how do these respiratory droplets transmit coronavirus? By coughing and sneezing, by close personal contact such as touching or shaking hands. If you touch a person who is attacked by coronavirus, or if you shake hands with a COVID affected person, you will get the disease. Or touching an object or surface with the virus on it, then touching your mouth, nose, or eyes before washing your hands. So by touching an object that a person with COVID has touched, that can also cause COVID-19, that can also transmit this particular disease. So we look at its effects. The coronavirus can lead to pneumonia. That is one major issue that is related to coronavirus. Another one, severe acute respiratory syndrome affecting lungs. Your lungs will get affected, or you can get affect the gut means stomach or abdomen. So your stomach or abdomen can also get affected. In rare cases, it can also lead to death. In certain cases, in very rare cases, coronavirus, this COVID-19 can lead to one's death. So what are the preventive measures to prevent the spread of COVID-19? These are some of the measures. One is social distancing, which is considered to be the most effective measure. Social distancing, keeping a distance, a safe distance from others. Then stay at home. Clean your hands often with soap and water or an alcohol based hand rub. That can also help you prevent getting affected. Cover your nose and mouth with a mask or with a handkerchief. If sick, seek medical attention. You should never submerge your sickness. If you get a fever or a dry cough, you must always seek medical attention. And then, most important, follow the directions of the health authorities. You must always obey the health authority. And what are its effects, or what are its impact? When you look at the impact of COVID-19, though it is a disease, it not merely end up in a health crisis. Rather, it can also lead to social and economic crisis. Apart from health crisis, it can also lead to social and economic crisis. And what is so unique to this particular COVID-19 is it affects all segments of the population. There is no demarcation like wealthy and poor. There is no demarcation like young and old. Everyone can get affected. So, all the segments of the population can be affected by COVID-19. But in certain cases, in certain social groups, it can prove fatal. It can be very dangerous to certain vulnerable social groups like older people. Older people may get fatally affected. It can always lead to their death. And then people with low immunity. People with low immunity power may also get fatally attacked. And then people with chronic health issues, persons with disabilities, and people living in poverty situations. These are the social groups who are so vulnerable and who may get fatal consequences because of COVID-19. In other people, even though all the population are affected alike, in younger generation or the other social groups, they will be cured from COVID-19. But in these social vulnerable groups, they may get fatally affected. And refugees, migrants, displaced persons, etc., also stand to suffer disproportionately. They are also considered to be vulnerable groups. Then, what are its threats, future threats or social threats? If not addressed properly, the pandemic can increase poverty, inequality, exclusion, discrimination, and global unemployment. We can see that if you are affected by any other disease, there will be someone or the other to help you out. But in this particular case, since it is a pandemic, it can lead to a kind of exclusion in the society. You will be discriminated against. It will lead to kind of inequality in the social arena. And since all the shops and all the markets are locked down, it can also lead to poverty. Since people cannot work, since people cannot move around or go out of their home, it can lead to poverty. And there is a huge chance of global unemployment as well. So these are the social threats that we may face in the future if COVID-19 is not addressed properly. So we may pray that it will be addressed properly by our authorities and we may get away from this particular pervasive darkness. So always be focused to see the light. Thank you.